Local security expert. Bay Alarm. We got you.
Hey. What's up, Dub Nation? Do you want to get cash back on Warriors gear? All you have to do is sign up at Rakuten.com/Warriors, where you can earn 10% cash back in store and online at Warriors Shop. Once you're a member, shop your favorite stores like Fanatics and Ticketmaster and watch the cash back add up in your account. Rakuten is the most rewarding way for you to shop and maximize your savings. Join Rakuten for free today at Rakuten.com/Warriors or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
Before you begin your road trip, ask yourself, do you really need 5 full suitcases? With the 2026 Kia Sportage X-Pro's class-leading cargo space, you'll have room for what you need. Find out more at your local Kia dealer today. Keep the adventure going. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-3334-KIA for details. Always drive safely and obey all traffic laws. Comparisons based on second row legroom and cargo space behind second row seats in the subcompact SUV class according to Kia segmentation as of October 2025.
No matter what you're eating during today's Warriors game, sharing a jar of Mazzetta makes it better. Just pop open that red cap to give your favorite snacks something extra, like crunchy jalapenos on nachos or zesty peppercini on sandwiches and sliders. It's just better. Mazzetta is a family-owned Bay Area company providing peppers, olives, pickled vegetables, and sauces since 1935. At Mazzetta, we say that when you share your food, you share a part of who you are. So grab your family and friends and share some unforgettable flavors with Mazzetta.
What do you think makes the perfect snack?
It's gotta be when I'm really craving it and it's convenient.
Could you be more specific?
When it's cravenient.
Okay.
Like a freshly baked cookie made with real butter, available right down the street at AM/PM, or a savory breakfast sandwich I can grab in just a second at AM/PM.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Well, yeah, we're talking about what I crave.
Which is anything from AM/PM.
What more could you want?
Stop by AM/PM where the snacks and drinks are perfectly craveable and convenient. That's cravenience. AM/PM, too much good stuff.
We're cool for the summer. Demi Lovato. Live in concert in San Francisco. It's Not That Deep Tour. Chase Center, May 11th. With special guest, Adele. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. The brand new album, It's Not That Deep, is available everywhere now. For more, visit DemiLovato.com.
No matter what you're eating during today's Warriors game, sharing a jar of Mazzetta makes it better. Just pop open that red cap to give your favorite snacks something extra, like crunchy jalapenos on unforgettable flavors with Mazzetta.
RingCentral will completely transform the way you work. It gives you built-in AI across all your business conversations. Your phone system has an AI receptionist that answers calls 24/7. Your video meetings have AI that takes notes instantly. Even your contact center has AI, so you can help customers faster. It all comes together in one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at RingCentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
Being in your bag isn't just for players on the court. With DoorDash, all of Dub Nation has a bag too. Scrolling late night highlights? Have snacks on hand. Hosting a watch party? Get drinks, ice, and cups before tip-off. Low battery during tunnel walks? There's a charger delivered to where you are. DoorDash keeps your bag deep so you can keep up with the speed of the game. DoorDash, official partner of the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, it's your boy Guru. When it comes to pest control, don't guess. Go online and get the facts with ATCO Pest Control. ATCO is a family-owned local company that's been protecting the Bay Area homes for over 40 years. And quality service does not have to come at a crazy price tag. If you're dealing with ants, spiders, rodents, or anything crawling where it should not be, visit ATCOPest.com. That's ATCO Pest.com to learn more and schedule service today. ATCO's got you covered.
The Curry pump fake, flyby, 3-ball, got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-WHO.
Don't you wish you were here?
This broadcast was presented by Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the Bet365 app and lock in your picks before the game begins. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in select states only.
The lights.
And Spencer deflected to Pajemski. Warriors down 7 seconds left. Pods might have traveled and got fouled. 4.5 our time remaining. And the second row of the Warrior bench thought that might have been something to look at. The officials say no. Pajemski.
Move on, nothing there.
First free throw is up and no good. Well, for what has been an incredibly difficult season here in Sacramento, at least the fans who have come out tonight will have something to cheer for.
Yeah, they got to shake their cowbells and have a good time.
Yeah. And they get to see a couple of the young guys that are going to be maybe part of their future. Free throw, good by Pons, makes it 124-118. Carter will dribble it out. Great night for him. And the Sacramento Kings come away with a win in their final home game of the season. They knock off the Warriors 124-118.
A strange basketball game, and it ends with a Kings win in Sacramento over the Warriors, as you just heard the voice of the Dubs, Tim Roy and Tom Tolbert, talking about final score 124-118. The final score, though, not really all that important, although it is important for the Kings, not important for the Warriors. The Kings, I mean, give them credit. They won a basketball game. Warriors were relatively healthy coming into the game. Now, they didn't close this game with really any of their key guys, particularly not their key veterans, and because they hadn't, the win or loss did not matter to the Warriors. It's more about what happened in the game, and it wasn't great. We'll talk about that. The Kings tonight, if you're looking at this purely from a you take pride out of it, you take a potential rivalry out of it, this is a game it's better for the Kings to lose than win, so credit them for winning a game that maybe it wasn't right for them to win, but they won. They had a couple of really nice performances. Devin Carter scored 29. Maxime Reynaud really hurt the Warriors. Nick Clifford was really good in the first half. The Kings ultimately win. The Warriors fall 124-118, but the Warriors have been locked into the 10 seed for quite a while, so win-loss did not really matter. The Warriors had kind of treated the game today as a dress rehearsal for the play-in. They do have one more regular season game coming up on Sunday. TBD on how the Warriors will play that exactly. It is potentially going to be a meaningful basketball game, though, because of what happened in Portland tonight as well. If you were listening all day today, you probably heard this a number of times on 95.7 The Game. Blazers hosting the Clippers. Those are the teams directly ahead of the Warriors in the 8-9 spot. Entering the day, the Clippers a game ahead. But if the Blazers win, not only would they equal the Clippers in terms of record, but they would also claim the tiebreaker. And that's exactly what happened. The Blazers beat the Clippers in Portland. They got out to a big lead in the first half. The Clippers came roaring back and got back into the game. Then the Blazers close them out in the fourth quarter. Blazers win that game, so they're both 41-40. The Blazers now have the tiebreaker, which means currently they are the 8 seed, and they will likely be the 8 when it's all said and done. That is not yet a done deal. Portland hosts the Sacramento Kings on Sunday, and the Clippers, they host the Warriors on Sunday. If the Blazers want the 8 seed, which you do want, because that gives you 2 cracks at the play-in apple as opposed to having to win twice, right? If you're the 7 or the 8 seed, you have 2 chances to win 1 play-in game. If you're the 9 or the 10, you have to win 2 do-or-die play-in games just to make the playoffs. So that was a really big deal in Portland today. And while the Warriors still do not know who their opponent will be on Wednesday, it is now more than likely going to be the Clippers. I say that because the Blazers are hosting the Kings. The Kings will not have much to play for, although the Kings didn't have much to play for tonight either. The part that is not the case for that game on Sunday is the Blazers have a ton to play for. The Warriors did not have a ton to play for today. So if the Blazers handle the injured and frankly bad Kings on Sunday, the Blazers will be the 8, and no matter what happens between the Warriors and the Clippers on Sunday, the Clippers will be the 9, and that would mean it would be Warriors-Clippers on Wednesday in the play-in game of the 9-10 variety. But say the Kings upset the Blazers, then the result of Clippers-Warriors matters. If the Blazers lose to the Kings and the Clippers beat the Warriors, then it will be Warriors-Blazers. These games, though, will be going on simultaneously, both at 5:30 on Sunday, so it's not as if the Warriors or Clippers can go into their game on Sunday knowing, oh, the Blazers lost. That means this game is meaningful, so we're going to play it accordingly. They're going to be happening simultaneously. Now, there are coaches, of course, on both benches, behind both benches, that can explain what's going on, and that could impact strategy and that sort of thing. But based on what happened tonight in Portland, it is now more likely than it was before and more likely than it's ever been that it will be Warriors-Clippers on Wednesday in the play-in, which I suppose isn't the worst thing for the Warriors. I think we could argue who is the better or the worst matchup for the Warriors. Is it the Blazers or is it the Clippers? I personally think the Warriors have a better chance of beating the Blazers just in a do-or-die game. I don't want anything to do with Kawhi Leonard. That's my personal opinion. But the Warriors not having to go on a plane again might be helpful because they play in LA versus the Clippers on Sunday, and it would be my guess that they would stay down in LA, although it is a pretty quick flight to get ready for the game on Wednesday, potentially against the Clippers. So we'll see how that all goes. We'll talk more about that as we continue here on Warriors Wrap-Up. And welcome in. It's Mark Randy with you. If you want to join the conversation, you can do so at 888-957-9570. Again, 888-957-9570. That's the number to call. It is also the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line. Again, 888-957-9570. And we got the YouTube chat up and rolling as always, youtube.com/957 the game. Join the conversation there. I see you. No. I see you, A Change. I see you, SGA Sports Talk. James, U.S. Army. Who else is in here? GG, Moko Coco, Joseph, Andis. I think that's just about everybody. Keep the comments coming, and I will. I'll get your mention in. Appreciate you all being here and hanging out with me on this Friday evening on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. So, okay, now that we have that out of the way, we still do not yet know the Warriors' opponent for the play-in game, the 9-10 game. It is beginning to take shape. Let's focus on what we saw tonight because, again, wins and losses don't matter for the Warriors. They didn't matter tonight. They didn't matter last night against the Lakers. They didn't matter 2 nights ago against the Kings or 3 nights ago against the Kings. They're not going to matter Sunday in terms of the Warriors jumping out of the 10 seed. Now, there is a chance that Clippers-Warriors is meaningful in some way if again, the Blazers lose to the Kings on Sunday. But you get my point. For the Warriors... from the Warriors' perspective, a win or a loss does not matter for the Warriors in the standings. So what today was about for the Warriors was getting Stephen Curry back. It was getting Kristaps Porzingis back. It was getting Al Horford back. It was getting Guy Santos back and taking a look at how that group can play together going forward. And one thing that Steve Kerr said that a lot of people involved in this game for the Warriors said, if you were watching the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast today with Bob Fitzgerald and Kalena Azubuike, the number of times they used the phrase dress rehearsal, I mean, I lost count. And that's what tonight was for the Warriors. It's what it represented. This was an opportunity for the Warriors, not quite as healthy as they're going to be. You would expect, I think, Seth Curry to be back at some point and be ready for a play-in. Now, how many minutes is he going to play? Who knows? But they were not at full strength. And when I'm talking about full strength, I'm ignoring Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody because those guys are out for the season. And I'm honestly, also ignoring Quentin Post because as long as Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis are healthy, then I don't think Quentin Post is going to be playing any minutes other than maybe potential garbage time minutes in play-in or playoff games. So the Warriors are pretty close to as healthy as they're going to be. So this gave them an opportunity to trot out their rotations and groupings that they were actually going to use come the play-in. And it was the starting lineup tonight. They led off there with Steph Curry, Brandon Pajemski, Guy Santos, Draymond Green, and Kristaps Porzingis. That's a group of 5 that, frankly, I mean, it's nothing to scoff at. It's not a bad group at all. Now, the first half largely was pretty disappointing. The Warriors at halftime were trailing by 12 points. It was 63-51 Sacramento. Sacramento shot 54% from the field, made 10 of 19 threes in the first half. The Warriors were committing a bunch of turnovers. They committed 9 in the first half. The points off of turnovers didn't really hurt the Warriors a ton in this game. They ultimately committed 16, and the Kings turned those into 19 points off of turnovers. You were outscored by 5 in the points off of turnover category in this game. Turnovers weren't like back-breaking, but it's more than Steve Kerr wanted. And a lot of the turnovers were kind of the head-scratching variety. There were a couple of bad ones by Steph. There were some bad ones by Kristaps Porzingis as well, and those are the ones the Warriors just simply can't have going forward. So if we're using tonight as it should be, again, not as a win-loss, we're going to pretend the world is over and the sky is falling if the Warriors lose this game. But obviously you want them to play well and build good habits and have good process and get into a rhythm. And there were some moments here and there. The third quarter was really good. The Warriors were amazing in the third quarter. They outscored the Kings by 19 points in the third quarter. 38-19 was the edge in the third quarter. Pajemski was great in that third quarter. So was Guy Santos. Steph Curry got a couple of shots to fall. You could feel in that third quarter there was better rhythm from Steph and from Porzingis specifically. You got some contributions up and down the roster, but for the most part, in terms of this being a dress rehearsal for the Warriors, it felt like a failure for the most part. Again, the third quarter was great, but the majority of the rest of the game was, I think a failure. And if the Warriors, key guys, I'm not talking about the group that they closed this game with, right? Like if you're hung up on the loss, I would recommend don't be, because the Warriors closed tonight in a clutch game down the stretch. Their 5 on the floor was Pajemski, Pat Spencer, Guy Santos, along with Malachi Lyons and Charles Bassey. Now, nothing against that group of 5 and nothing specifically against Pat Spencer, Malachi Lyons, and Charles Bassey, because in that group of 5, you do have 2 Warriors starters in Pajemski and Guy Santos, at least starters tonight, and I would imagine if those guys are healthy, they will be starters come the play-in, and however longer the Warriors season goes on beyond that, because Jimmy's not coming back and Moses isn't coming back, and I think the Warriors prefer D'Anthony Melton being a featured scorer off the bench as opposed to playing behind Steph or second or third fiddle to Steph or Kristaps or whoever it is in that starting lineup. But yeah, so like it wasn't great, but that's the group the Warriors are trotting out there in clutch time. So if you're hung up on the win or loss of this game, I would recommend not be. But what I do think is fair to feel or to think about in this moment is, well, when you were playing your best players, and specifically Steph and Kristaps and Al and Draymond, it still felt pretty sloppy at times. And we can talk about the turnovers. Again, 16 of those for the Warriors today. I think the number isn't the most important thing. It's talking about who was committing them for the Warriors. And the turnovers in this game, there were 4 by Kristaps Porzingis, 3 by Draymond, and 3 by Steph. And that was the majority of the Warriors' turnovers. 10 of their 16 turnovers were by those 3. It was a relatively sloppy game. It did not feel like they were on the same page or in a rhythm or connected to each other terribly often in this game tonight. And if you are holding out hope that the Warriors can win a play-in game, win 2 play-in games, and go to a postseason series, then what happened in terms of their turnovers tonight probably does not give you a whole lot of confidence. We can say the same thing about the Warriors' defense as well. The Kings scored 124 points tonight. They shot 46% from the field. They made 17 threes, 39% from downtown, 29 points from Devin Carter. Devin Carter, it was a lottery pick. This is his second year in the league. and had a career game. Made 6 of his 11 threes, was 11 of 18 from downtown, scored 29 points, had 9 boards, had 4 assists. Maxime Reynaud, second-round pick, rookie, who's looking like one of the steals of the drafts, honestly. He's been really good this year. He scored 23 points, had 9 rebounds and 4 assists as well. Daquan Plowden, who the Warriors organization knows pretty well from his time in Santa Cruz, had 20 points to hurt the Warriors as well, also 9 boards. Nick Clifford, their lottery pick from this past season out of Colorado State, he hurt the Warriors specifically in the first half. He had a stretch where he scored like 8 points in a minute stretch. He finished this game with 20 points overall. There was a lot of defensive miscues. It was a couple of players running with the same player and leaving a wide open shooter in the corner for an open, easy corner 3. Things like that have plagued the Warriors at times this year, and we're plaguing them again tonight. And again, I'm not talking about like the group that ended the game. It's not like I'm worried about Malachi Lyons and Charles Bassey, for example, mixing up an assignment. I'm talking about Draymond and Kristaps, or Draymond and Al, or Kristaps and Guy, or Al and Guy, right? Those are players that, assuming that they're healthy and available, will be playing in any meaningful games going forward. If it's just, one more meaningful game, and I'm going to exclude Sunday from the meaningful conversation. If it's just the one play-in game, if it's 2 play-in games, if it's 2 play-in games plus a playoff series, it's going to be because Steph and Draymond and Kristaps and Al and Guy and Pajemski and that group plays good basketball. And there was too much of that group making mistakes tonight. Now, look, this is also a really hard thing the Warriors are trying to do. And I do give them a little bit of grace, and it's why there is probably a conversation for how do the Warriors handle Sunday. And we're going to hear from Steve Kerr coming up in just a little bit. I'm sure that Steve Kerr postgame tonight was asked about the plan for Sunday. And I've seen a lot of this. I've seen it in my Twitter mentions all day today. I saw it on the YouTube chat already. I've seen some of it on the Boxer and Gerson work injury attorneys text line as well. Sunday is a meaningless game. Don't play anybody. Rest everyone. And look, from a safety standpoint, from a health standpoint, from an injury risk standpoint, that makes perfect sense. We saw Steph Curry tonight limp. And for a while, I don't think anybody knew exactly what happened. So early in the game, we're like 3 minutes into the game, Steph Curry's bringing the ball up the court and gets it across half court against Devin Carter, and Devin Carter kind of swipes at the ball, and the guys kind of collide. It was not a violent collision at all. Initially, I thought maybe Steph banged knees with Devin Carter. Watching the replay, I don't really think that happened. Ultimately, Steph lost the ball, and in kind of the quick scramble to regain control of it, he slipped on the court, and because of his slip, his right ankle ended up rolling. So it was a rolled right ankle. It had nothing to do with the right knee. I think most of us, myself included, assumed that it was related to the runner's knee issue that's been bothering him for 2+ months now, and that cost him to miss 2+ months. But as far as I could tell, it was not that. It was a simple, and I say simple, it's not a good thing, but a simple ankle roll for Steph. He limped around pretty aggressively. It was a very noticeable limp. For a few minutes after that, he stayed in the game, though, played the first 10 minutes of the first quarter, including the final 7 minutes of that stretch after rolling his ankle. And he wasn't moving great for the majority of the rest of that first quarter, but the rest of the game felt like he was moving relatively normal, specifically in the second half when he got his shot going just a little bit. He made just 1 bucket in the entire first half, came out of the second half, hit a big 3, got going a little bit, and you could kind of feel him getting into a little bit of a rhythm. But so I get if you're saying the Warriors should play nobody on Sunday because of the quick injury scare that we saw from Steph tonight. But if you are the Warriors and you're at a point where, wins and losses don't matter and you want everybody to be healthy, those are, the health is the most important thing, but very quickly behind the health is, well, are the guys playing well, right? This is a common phrase and term that you hear in soccer. And if you're a big Premier League fan, we got a big day in the Premier League coming up tomorrow. But one of the things you'll hear coaches or managers or gaffers, as they're called in the Premier League in soccer, one thing that you'll hear those leaders of Premier League soccer teams say is a player fit and is a player in form. Fit is essentially, are they healthy to play? And for the Warriors right now, for the first time in a long time, you have a lot of fit players. Fit, again, meaning healthy to play. But the other half of that is, are they in form? And in form means, have they played enough recently to where they're in a good rhythm and they're playing well and they're not rusty and they're not, figuring out how to play with each other? Is the team in form? Is this grouping of players in form? Is this individual player in form? And I think we can say with nearly 100% certainty, there's not a whole lot of players on the Warriors right now that are in form. You could say Pajemski's probably in form, right? Pajemski, first career 30-point game. 30-point game for Pajemski, and it was a pretty big deal if you are a Twitter user or a social media user in general, and you're involved in kind of the Warriors side of those applications. You probably have seen there's a Twitter account that's dedicated to Pajemski scoring 30 points, and he tweeted over a year and a half ago that he will never tweet again until Pajemski scores 30 points, and he'd stay true to his word until tonight when Pajemski scored 30 points, and it kind of became this whole big thing across NBA Twitter, and that night finally happened tonight. So Pajemski might be one of the few Warriors that is, again, to use the soccer term, in form. Steph's not in form. Porzingis is not in form. Al Horford is not in form. So the risk that you run by not playing your guys on Sunday versus the Clippers, you make sure that they're healthy come Wednesday in the play-in, but what you do also ensure is that they're not going to be any closer to being in form and being in a rhythm. Now, tonight didn't really help either because they played and they didn't play great together. They were great in the third quarter. They had a great stretch, but they did not have a great game together. So there is a balancing act going on here. If I were to bet, I would bet that Steph Curry wants to play a good amount of minutes coming up on Sunday because I think he thinks he probably needs it to get in form, to get in a rhythm. And it's not like you have a back-to-back or you only have one day off before the play-in. You play Sunday and you don't play your play-in game until Wednesday. And there's a chance you don't even have to hop on a plane again, because if it is the Clippers versus the Warriors in the play-in, the Warriors will already be in LA playing the Clippers on Sunday, and they can just stay down there and not have to get back on a plane back to the Bay, then up to Portland, or back to the Bay and then back to LA. Would be my guess that they would just stay down there in LA. But so that is the balance the Warriors are trying to find right now between between making sure that they are healthy, but also getting as in form, right? Getting as in a rhythm, shaking off any kind of rust before the play-in begins, because it's pretty clear that they're not in form and that they are pretty rusty in this moment. So I don't think it's a done deal. I'm seeing a lot of it. I don't think it's a done deal that, Steph's not playing, Draymond's not playing, Al's not playing, Kristaps not playing on Sunday. I would expect them to play. Let's see. The 808 on the Boxer and Gerson work injury attorneys text line right now says, yes, I'm with everyone on the text line and the YouTube chat. Let's see. Oh, I think you meant I wouldn't play the starters. You say I would play the starters, but I think you meant I wouldn't play the starters on Sunday. I would just rest them. Everyone is right with that point. 808, you might be right. I don't think that's what's going to happen for the Warriors. Now, maybe you play your normal starters or your normal better group, but they play an extremely limited amount of minutes. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But it would be different if that Warriors group with Steph and with Al and with Draymond and Guy and Porzingis and Pajemski, they were just amazing tonight and they were playing great basketball. And you felt like, all right, maybe they are a little bit more informed than we expected them to be. Then it would make more sense for me, at least, to potentially hold them out for Sunday. But they're clearly not in form right now. And if your goal is to, win as many play-in games as possible and go to a postseason series, Sunday is a valuable day for you. If you don't think that they are in form right now, and I don't. mean to pretend I can read Steve Kerr's mind. I have not yet heard him speak post-game. We will do that coming up in a little bit, and I'm sure he addressed it. I would venture to guess that Steve Kerr not very happy with the defense and the turnovers tonight. And I think as a result, he feels like this team might need to play some of their key guys at least a handful of minutes coming up on Sunday. But we'll see the way that it plays out. 888-957-9570. Let's go out to the phone lines because Chardol is in Fremont and wants to weigh in. What's up, Chardol? You're on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Hi, Mark. I'm a big fan of 95.7 The Game. I tune into it after every Warriors game, and you make some great content videos on the platform. As the Sacramento Kings take down the Warriors by final score 124-118 from the Golden One Center in downtown Sacramento, located very close to the Sacramento Valley Amtrak station. It's a beautiful Amtrak station, by the way. I've been there. And this was a very sloppy game, sloppy game tonight against the dismal Sacramento Kings squad, consisting of Devin Carter, Precious Achua, and Maxime Renault. And it was great calling to Warriors Wrap Up, and hope you have a great rest of your night. And I'll see you on April 14th for the playing tournament. That's going to be fun. Hopefully, Warriors can win both of those playing games.
Yeah, appreciate that, Chardol, and I hope to see you on Sunday for Warriors Clippers, even though maybe it's going to be a relatively meaningless game, although it's not a done deal because, again, Clippers have a chance to be the 8th seed, so that game could be very, very meaningful to the Clippers, and there could be a situation that plays out where the Warriors have an ability to kind of choose their opponent. Like that also can kind of happen. Let's just pretend, again, this is probably unlikely, and I say probably, it is unlikely, and in fact, it's very unlikely, but let's just say, again, these teams, the NBA does it right, where all these games, at least for the same conferences, right? There's 2 windows of games on Sunday. The Eastern Conference teams play early. The Western Conference teams play later, and they all tip off at the same time. There is one exception where there's one Eastern Conference team playing one Western team because there's only 15 teams in each league, so there's always one team left out there. But all the Western Conference, versus Western Conference games will start at 5:30. So let's say that the Kings blow out the Blazers, and it's clear that beginning in the fourth quarter, it will be the Kings that win and the Blazers that lose. That means then that the result of Clippers-Warriors is really meaningful. And if the Clippers were to win, the Warriors would play the Blazers. But if the Clippers were to lose to the Warriors would play the Clippers. And maybe the Warriors are going up against a Clipper team that already punted and is holding out Kawhi and is holding out all their key players, and the Warriors have it in their grasp to choose their opponent. Should you lose on purpose and play the Blazers, or try to win and play the Clippers? That there is a potential for that happening. It is very, very unlikely, but it's why Sunday is not totally meaningless at this point. But I appreciate the call, Chardol. I learned something new. I did not know that the Amtrak station near Golden One Center is beautiful. That is news to me, although I admit I've never been there. So I will keep an eye out for that when I do make my first stop at the Amtrak stop in Sacramento right next to Golden One. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will hear from Steve Kerr. I'm eager to hear what he had to say about the plan for Sunday because I'm seeing a lot of disagreements on the text line, on the YouTube chat about what the plan should be for Sunday. So we will get to that when we come back. It's Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. Dubs fall in Sacramento. The win, the loss doesn't really matter all that much. It's more about how they played, and they didn't play great, which I guess it makes sense because they lost this basketball game. So maybe in a way that is not usually the way that we talk about wins and losses, the loss was important because it signified the Warriors played not great basketball for the majority of this game. Steve Kerr and more coming up next as we continue right here on 95.7 The Game.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
What's your financial future look like? At Pettinelli Financial Partners, we help you shape it. Whether you're planning for retirement, buying a home, or saving for something special, our professionals are here to provide clear guidance and smart strategies. Visit PettinelliFP.com today and take the first step toward a more secure financial future. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos and Pettinelli are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Let's talk about a big win on and off the field. This April, donate blood with Stanford Blood Center and you're automatically entered to win 2 luxury suite tickets for the Giants versus the Diamondbacks on May 25th at Oracle Park. We're talking suite level, great views, all the food and drinks included. Your one donation saves lives, and it puts you in the best seats in the house. Make the call to donate today. Visit StanfordBloodCenter.org for an appointment.
It's Deck Days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-708-5977. 800-708-5977. 800-708-5977.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote.
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Trying to drive on Carter, goes right by him. Finger rolled up and good, and Sacramento will call a timeout. It's a 2-point game. Golden State with a 12-0 burst here. It's 65-63 Sacramento on the Warriors Radio Network. Takes a handoff from Draymond, takes a three and hits it, and he's now past Tim Duncan, 19th on the all-time scoring list. Steph Curry continues to climb the ladder and rewrite the record book.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
It's go time from 95.7 The Game out of the University of Oregon. Make some noise for Mark Grandy.
Despite a loss, that puts a smile on my face. I appreciate that, Cam. The great Franco Finn introing me here on Warriors Wrap Up. Not many more of these, probably, no matter what happens for the Warriors. I mean, we might get 2 play-in games. We're getting at least 1. If we get past 2 play-in games, we have at least 4 more playoff games. But tonight was game number 81. 81 of this season. We're a game away from the regular season ending. It has gone by both fast and slow at the same time. It has been a difficult season at times. I think most Warrior fans would agree. A very difficult season at times. Unfortunately, though, it is nearing its end. It seems like it, even if the Warriors do have a run in them come the play-in tournament. The deck is stacked against them in a very, very big way come the postseason if they are to get that far. Welcome back, though. It is Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you as the Dubs fall to the Kings in Sacramento. Final score, 124-118. That highlight you just heard, Tim Roy, it was a Steph Curry 3 early in the second half, and that allowed him to pass Tim Duncan for 19th all-time in the NBA's scoring list. Tim Duncan finished his career with 26,496, and Steph now has surpassed that for the 19th most points scored all time in NBA history. How about that for Steph Curry? Congratulations. He only had 11 points tonight, 3 for 8 from the field, 2 for 6 from downtown, 27 minutes and 16 seconds played by Steph tonight. He rolled his ankle early, limped around for a bit, stayed in the game, and eventually got up to 27 minutes, which I know was important for him because the other half of this, and if you're just joining us, we were talking about what the plan for Sunday should be for the Warriors. It's a meaningless game for the Warriors in terms of the standings for wins and losses for the Warriors specifically. It could be meaningful for the Clippers, and we won't really know about that until we see how the Blazers versus Kings game goes in Portland on Sunday. What's important is the Blazers beat the Clippers today, so now they are deadlocked at 41-40. The Blazers, though, have the tiebreaker. So if they both win or they both lose, the Blazers are going to be the 8 seed, and the Clippers would be the 9 seed. But if the Blazers lose, meaning the Kings beat them and the Clippers win, then the Clippers would jump the Blazers. They'd become the 8, and the Blazers would fall down to the 9. Why is this important for the Warriors? Well, as the 10 seed, they would play the 9 seed. And it's more likely that it's going to be the Clippers than the Blazers, but it's still very possible that it could be the Blazers, and the Warriors have an opportunity to maybe be involved in how it all plays out because they are the opponent for the Clippers coming up on Sunday, and that could also be the opponent for the Warriors coming up on Wednesday to begin the play-in. So there are a lot of moving pieces here still, but the part that matters, I think, for the Warriors on Sunday is they're a team, because of injuries, that is not in rhythm right now. Or again, to go back to what I was talking about last segment, they're not in form, as you would hear an analyst, a commentator say about a soccer team, right? Like I'm waking up early tomorrow morning to watch some Premier League soccer, and I turn on the pregame show, and I will hear, well, who's fit, which means who's healthy to play, and who's in form, what teams, what players, what groups of players are in a rhythm. The Warriors right now are as fit as they've been in a long time, but they're not in form. And so Sunday is another opportunity for them to get in form, at least by just a little bit. So let's hear from Steve Kerr, because I'm sure that he's going to address all of what we're talking about in terms of the plan for Sunday. The other thing you have to worry about is because you're playing the Clippers on Sunday, and that could also be your opponent on Wednesday, you don't want to not take it seriously if you think there's something to be gained, but you don't want to say go all out and give the Clippers any kind of intel on how you might try to beat them if you were to play them again on a Wednesday. So there is a little bit of chess going on here, I would imagine, for the Warriors' game plan coming up on Sunday ahead of a potential rematch on Wednesday. But I do think there is stuff for the Warriors to gain, and it's specifically on their own side, and it's their guys getting into a rhythm, not just Steph working his way back. He's only played 3 games since returning from a 2+ month absence. But it's also about him playing with Porzingis and him playing again with Horford. And, Porzingis playing more with Draymond, and Steph playing with this new and improved Gee, and Steph playing with this Pajemski, who, despite what a lot of people will say, I do think is quite improved since Steph last played consistent minutes with him, which was all the way back in January. So there is, I think, maybe not a ton, but there is something there for the Warriors to gain by playing some of their guys on Sunday. But let's hear from Steve Kerr as the Dubs fall in their penultimate game of the regular season. Final score, 124-118 in favor of the Kings. Here is Coach Kerr postgame tonight in Sacramento.
Steve, is Steph going to play tonight?
Yes.
And Kristaps?
Yep.
Minutes-wise, what do you expect to see from them? 25 minutes or more or less?
Probably right around that, yeah. We'll start Steph tonight, though, and get him a few more minutes than what he played the other night.
Actually, sorry about that, guys. I think that might be the pregame Steve Kerr. So we'll get on that, and we'll bring up the postgame Steve Kerr coming up in just a little bit. But that's talking about who they were playing tonight, and he did confirm, of course, Steph was going to play and that Porzingis was going to play. But our guys in the back will get the postgame Steve Kerr up. Let's see if I can find just some bits and pieces of what he had to say. Yeah, okay. So here's just a little bit, and I'll do my best to take a look at this. But let's see here. Oh yeah, here it is. So this comes courtesy of Anthony Slater, Warriors insider and reporter for ESPN. He wrote after Steve Kerr's pressure in Sacramento, he wrote that Steve Kerr said Steph Curry's ankle tweak isn't a concern. He said he plans to play Curry on Sunday in Los Angeles because Curry wants to generate a better rhythm. Kerr, though, did acknowledge the Warriors won't want to show much to the Clippers prior to the elimination play-in game on Wednesday. So kind of what we were just talking through there from Steve Kerr. But I want to hear a little bit more from Steve Kerr. And is it in there now? Is that it? Gotcha. Okay, I see it. All right, here is Steve Kerr post-game tonight in Sacramento as the Dubs fall. Let's hear what Steve Kerr had to say.
Do you have any update on Steph? How he's doing?
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Doing fine. What happened? What did you see in the first quarter? Did he roll his ankle
or knee?
His
ankle. Yeah, it wasn't his knee. So that's why I took the timeout. And I was worried it was his knee. I just saw him limping, and he came over and he said, "No, I'm fine. It's just the ankle, and I just gotta. I don't know. He just tweaked it or something, but he's fine."
Fine.
Was the plan not to close with them?
Yeah.
And then do you know on Sunday, like, if that's a game that you want to keep seeing them or?
Well, the plan is to play Steph, and he wants the rhythm and to continue to build his conditioning. And I don't know exactly how many minutes. The game is probably not going to matter to the Clippers. Obviously, doesn't matter to us in terms of positioning. So we'll have to, we'll make sure that health is the number one priority, but rhythm comes after that.
You're probably going to play the Clippers in the play-in.
Yeah.
At least that seems like the likeliest option. Does not wanting to, show them anything, is that come into play at all?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure for both teams.
How would you diagnose some of the issues you guys had defensively tonight?
We were not good defensively. We had one good stretch in the game, third quarter, where we I thought we set a tone defensively. Obviously, Draymond got things stirred up a little bit. We needed that fire, that edge. But that was it. The other three quarters were really poor.
Did you see the combinations that you wanted to see tonight?
Yeah. Yep.
What did you make of Gary's?
I didn't even see what he did, but coach just said he took a half-court shot after he took the timeout. Is that right? And then it went into the stands, yeah. So, obviously, can't do that, you know. That hurt us, and it's just, you know, careless. We just got to be solid, and that's what I talked to the guys in there about. It's like, you know, we're going in to Wednesday's playing game without much momentum, without a whole lot of continuity and health and all that. And so we're trying to put it together quickly, and we're going to have to clean up a lot of mistakes between now and then, but we do have some time, but we have to focus.
All right, that's Steve Kerr post-game tonight in Sacramento after the Warriors fell 124-118. Again, you heard Steve Kerr talk about he seemed very, very optimistic that the Sunday game is not going to matter at all. Why he's saying that, either he doesn't 100% know the way that the tiebreaker plays out, or he's just assuming that the Blazers are going to be able to beat the Kings, which is probably a safe assumption. The Blazers will have a ton to play for, and they will be a really motivated team to win that game and claim the 8th seed so that they can be in the upper half of the play-in bracket. So he's probably right. The Clippers-Warrior game, it's likelier than not that it will not matter at all for any kind of playoff seeding. It obviously matters nothing for the Warriors' playoff or play-in seeding. There's a chance it could matter for the Clippers' play-in seeding, but that's only if the Kings go up to Portland and upset the Blazers, and that would be a relatively large upset, considering, again, the Blazers are very, very motivated to win that game. So Steve's probably right, but even with that being said, he clearly shared there what he thinks the value of Sunday is, which is to clean up a lot of the things that they did wrong tonight, which is turnovers and defense, and a word that I see highlight in the YouTube chat, youtube.com/957thegame, focus. So again, this Sunday could still be a pretty valuable day for the Warriors. Not in terms of getting a win, although a win might come from doing some of the things well or better than they did today, for example. The win in and of itself, though, is not meaningful or valuable at all to the Warriors. But getting into a rhythm, again, to continue our metaphor from, soccer analysis, to get more in form is the key for the Warriors coming up on Sunday. By the way, speaking of what was said post-game, I want to share with you what Steph Curry said post-game in the locker room in Sacramento. We'll do that in just a second. First, though, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app, and now broadcasting from the Laughing Monk Studios. Steph Curry post-game in Sacramento at his locker. This also comes courtesy of Anthony Slater on Twitter. Anthony Slater, who covers the Warriors for ESPN, he writes that Steph Curry wants to play, quote, his normal minutes on Sunday versus the Clippers. So that means in the 32 to 34 minute range. So Steph wants to add on to the 27 minutes that he played tonight and get up to his normal range, which is what he was playing before he went down with the injury. He added that the knee felt, quote, pretty good, better than last game, and he isn't worried about the ankle tweak, as he said, quote, I've been dealing with ankles forever. So that's it straight from the horse's mouth. Now, Steve Kerr said he's going to play Steph on Sunday, just doesn't know how many minutes he's going to play Steph on Sunday, but he did admit that Steph wants to play meaningful minutes, or at least a good chunk of minutes to build up his rhythm and his conditioning. That's the one part of this that I hadn't brought up yet. In addition to getting used to playing basketball again and getting used to playing with Porzingis and getting on the same page with his teammates, some of this is also about Steph getting his wind back and getting his conditioning back. And Is Steph going to be able to play 32 or 34? Hell, if it needs it, 36 minutes come Wednesday in the play-in? If he hasn't even played more than 27 minutes in a regular season game in the last 2.5 months? Maybe not. So Steph thinks, Steph's not playing 32 or 34 minutes or saying that he wants to play that number of minutes on Sunday because he really wants to win the game. He wants to play those amount of minutes because he thinks it can help him come Wednesday. And if he thinks it can help him come Wednesday, then in my opinion, I'm all for doing it. Now, you always run the risk that somebody could get hurt. Obviously, that's always the case in any game that you ever play. And you might say, well, why would you risk injury in a meaningless game in terms of the wins and losses? And I hear you. But if Steph says, well, me playing 32 minutes on Sunday gives us a better chance to win on Wednesday, then isn't it worth the risk? If he really says, he really thinks it's worth the risk of any potential injury because that amount of run can get him better equipped to help carry the Warriors in the play-in, then that's worth the risk in my mind, at least. And he says the knee felt even better tonight than it did in the past. So, and the ankle that's not related at all to the things that he's been going through. And as he wrote, he's been dealing with ankles forever. So we'll see what happens coming up on Sunday. It is a 5:30 tip time, which means the pregame coverage begins with Warriors Live at 4:30 right here on 95.7 The Game, and we'll be scoreboard watching in Portland all game as well. But yeah, it does seem like Steph wants to play. I mean, he said it himself, and Steve Kerr is going to play him. It's a question of just how long that they're going to play him. I do think there is reason to think that there is some value that could come out of this Warrior game coming up on Sunday because, again, what we saw tonight wasn't great. The Warriors in the third quarter scored 38 points. They were amazing from the field in that third quarter. Let's see. In the third quarter, the Warriors were 14 for 21, and they were 4 for 7 from downtown. They weren't terrible the rest of the game. They scored 27 points in the first, 24 in the second, 29 in the fourth. Not terrible offensive numbers in the other three quarters, but their offensive efficiency, their offensive performance, and their 118 points were really buoyed by that one quarter, that third quarter. And that was a positive quarter, and I'm not going to say that it doesn't mean anything, but the majority of this game, specifically for the Warriors, that you are looking at getting into a rhythm together. I'm talking specifically Steph and Kristaps and Al. It wasn't the smoothest game. I thought this was one of, honestly, Kristaps' worst games as a Warrior. And he's trying to get back into a rhythm. He scored 11 points, but it took him 12 shots, was 4 for 12 from the field, made 1 3, took just 3 of them. Did grab 7 boards, had a couple of assists, but 4 turnovers, and it just felt like he wasn't really ever in any kind of rhythm. He fouled out really early against the Rockets in the last game that he played because he missed the last 2 with an illness, and who knows what the illness was. If it was the mysterious thing that has cost him time in the past, maybe. If it's an unrelated thing, who knows. But the last game that he played was that Houston game where Şengün fouled him out early in the fourth quarter after he did not commit a foul in the first half. He committed 6 fouls in a quarter and a couple of minutes of play. Şengün dominated him, and Porzingis never got into a rhythm in that game. And I'm not going to sit here and say that my opinion on Porzingis as a future fit with the Warriors has changed after a couple of off games. But it is, I think, pretty clear that Porzingis isn't in the rhythm that he was, a couple of weeks ago. And you add Steph back into the mix, a guy that he has hardly played with and didn't play with at all until Sunday. Only the second game that he shared the court with Steph, and it's not like they're playing a ton of minutes together. They shared the court for 8 minutes on Sunday versus Houston, and they shared the court for more than that tonight, but it wasn't terribly effective. There was one moment where Steph drove and kicked to Porzingis on the move on the right wing, and Porzingis one dribble into a mid-range jumper. That was nice. But for every one of those moments, I can point out to you where Steph was under the basket off a drive, got caught in the air, saw Porzingis in the corner, and threw to Porzingis in the corner, but there was miscommunication, or at least just a misunderstanding, and Porzingis, as Steph is making the pass, begins a baseline cut towards the basket, towards the ball, as Steph is passing it over his head out of bounds. So they are not on the same page just yet. And that's why Sunday is valuable. And that's why I think we will see Steph start, Porzingis start, assuming health, Guy Santos start. Who knows about Draymond? Draymond could probably use the day off. Tonight was his 68th game of the season. And by the way, kudos to Draymond for playing as many games as he has this year. He very easily could have sat out a whole lot more and kind of given up on the season, but he did not. I credit him for that. But I do think we'll see Steph. I think we'll see Porzingis. I think we'll see Al. I think we'll see Guy. I think we'll see Pods. We will see the majority of the Warriors, I think, coming up on Sunday. The question is just how many minutes are they going to play? And if you get to a point where maybe the Kings are competitive with the Blazers, do the Warriors have any sort of interest in who they play on Wednesday? Because if the Kings beat the Blazers, then the Warriors-Clippers has a direct impact on who the Warriors play on Wednesday. If the Blazers lose and the Clippers beat the Warriors will play the Blazers. If the Blazers lose and the Clippers lose, the Warriors will play the Clippers. So there is a chance the Warriors could have kind of the ability to pick who they want to play in the play. And it only happens, of course, if the Kings beat the Blazers. And it's going to be hard to predict that in real time because, again, those games do tip off at the same exact time, a little after 5:30 coming up on Sunday. So we will see the way that it all plays out coming up on Sunday. Looking around the rest of the NBA really quick as we take a look at some of the scores from today before we wrap up and get on out of here. All 30 teams in action today. They're all off tomorrow, and all 30 back in action on Sunday to close the regular season. In addition to Blazers, Clippers, that's an inflection point in the Western standings. We just ran through the scenarios there. They're tied right now, and Sunday will determine who's the 8 and who's the 9. That also means that Phoenix is awaiting the results of those games to determine who they host in the first play-in game. Minnesota has locked up the 6th seed. The Houston Rockets, they lost tonight, and they lost to those Timberwolves. The Lakers won tonight, so they are a game ahead of the Rockets now for the 4. The Nuggets also won tonight, and the Spurs won. The Thunder lost, but the Thunder are playing without everybody in that game, as was Denver, but Denver still won that game. The Nuggets are a game ahead of the Lakers, and let me confirm the tiebreaker here between Denver and the Lakers. I think, let's see here, as I confirm this for you. Against Los Angeles, the Nuggets lost the first game, won the second game, lost the third game. So the Lakers do have the tiebreaker versus the Nuggets. So that the 3-4 spot is not yet solidified in the West. Meanwhile, the Lakers, they're a game ahead of the Rockets. Do the Lakers have the tiebreaker versus the Rockets? They've played 3 times this year. They lost the first game. They won the next 2. So the Lakers have the tiebreaker versus both those teams around them, which means, as a result of that, I believe the Lakers have locked up the 4th seed at worst, but they could climb as high as a 3 if Denver loses on Sunday and the Lakers win on Sunday. That matchup on Sunday, the Lakers are playing the Jazz. The Jazz won today in the tanking Super Bowl, if you will. The Jazz dominated the Grizzlies in one of the most unique box scores in NBA history. 3 triple-doubles in that game. I believe that's the first time that's ever happened. Plus, the Jazz had 2 triple-doubles by bench players. First time that's ever happened in an NBA game as well. So the Lakers playing Utah. Meanwhile, Denver is in San Antonio. San Antonio has nothing to play for. So Denver, considering that they do have at least a bit to play for to make sure they hold on to the 3 seed, maybe that they will try to win that game and they'll keep the 3. But it is interesting the way the West plays out, because if you are Denver, well, okay, if you're OKC, you want Denver to be the 3, which is why you lost to them tonight, because you don't want Denver slipping down to the 4, which would mean if you're OKC and all the favorites win, you would have to beat both Denver and San Antonio en route to the NBA Finals for a second straight year. If Denver is the 3, that means in the second round, if both the Spurs and Nuggets win, those two would play each other, while the Thunder would get a team like the Lakers or the Rockets in the second round, and then would await the winner of the Spurs and Nuggets, hoping that series goes deep and it gives the Thunder a better chance to win that Western Finals series and go all the way to the NBA Finals. So there are some moving pieces in the West, specifically Nuggets, Lakers, and then it's Blazers and Clippers in the 8-9 spot. So we'll keep an eye on that come Sunday as well. And then there's a lot of movement possible in the East. Only 2 play-in spots have been clinched in the East. The Hornets and the Heat will be play-in teams, but the Raptors, Magic, and Sixers are still fighting for who is going to be the 6th seed and the one team to avoid the play-in. Other 2 will be play-in teams in the East. Everything else, though, just about is wrapped up. The Pistons will be the 1, the Celtics will be the 2, the Knicks will be the 3, and the Cavs will be the 4. The Hawks right now, they won tonight. They are a game up on the Raptors, and I don't know off the top of my head who has the tiebreaker there. I'll confirm that for you, and then we'll wrap things up. The Hawks lost the first game of the year to the Raptors, lost the second game of the year to the Raptors. They lost all 4. So the Raptors have the tiebreaker versus the Hawks, which means if the Raptors win and the Hawks lose, those 2 teams could leapfrog each other as well, which would mean the Hawks would be the 6 and the Raptors would be the 5. Those opponents coming up on Sunday. Atlanta is in Miami. And then as we look elsewhere, Toronto. Where is Toronto? Toronto is hosting Brooklyn. So that should be a win for Toronto, which means Atlanta would have to win in Miami in order to stay as the 5 seed. But who knows? Maybe you don't want to be the 5. Maybe you'd rather be the 6 in the East. Because if you're the 6, you get the Knicks as opposed to the Cavs. And I don't know. Playing the Knicks as opposed to the Cavs doesn't sound terrible to me, in my opinion. I don't really believe much in the Knicks this season. I would not be shocked if whoever is the 6th seed beats the Knicks. And definitely I'm not picking the Knicks in the second round against the Celtics if they manage to get out of the first round of the Eastern playoffs. But that's a lot of moving parts. We'll talk more about it coming up on Sunday. We will, of course, focus on the Warriors and what's happening in Portland with the Blazers. They take on the Kings. Warriors take on the Clippers. And then we get ready for the play-in coming up on Wednesday. All right. That's going to do it for Warriors wrap up tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Dubs fall 124 to 118, but the win, the loss doesn't matter all that much for the Warriors. What matters more is how they're playing, and tonight was not the best the best example of that tonight for the Dubs. We'll see how many minutes Steph and company plays coming up on Sunday, and we'll, of course, break it all down for you here on Warriors Wrap Up on Sunday evening as well. All right. For Cam behind the glass, for all you guys for tuning in, my name is Mark Randy signing off. I will talk to you on Sunday. Until then, have a great rest of your Friday and a good weekend. We'll talk Sunday on 95.7 The Game.
Injuries, if they run up against a good team in the World Series this year.
I would even say, even if we just get to the National League, I think their bigger challenge, quite honestly, is probably in the National League than the American League, regardless of who it is.